forum is now open. Yes, Mr. Manager, one second.
Mayor, so we will avoid any type of confusion as to what was prior done. It's important that staff has clear understanding. So now with that $5.6 million left over, are we clear that the 3.5 was for the employees in the future?
3.5.
Yes.
And the rest is going, you have, if that would be the case, then that totals 9.1, you have 12.5. So can we indicate that the rest of that,
How much is the rest?
it would be
9.1.
3.4, that would be going into the reserve?
Reserve.
Yes. Go into reserves.
Fund. Yeah.
I just want to make,
I wholly disagree with giving staff that much money. I'm outvoted, but I can't see giving staff that much money.
and we may not, staff may not get that much, it was only allocated if needed, but
Right.
the 3.4,
We know
we're
that.
adding that, I just wanted to make sure that we're clear that
Yes.
the 3.4 that's left over will be now added to the 5 million that was there for ordinance, which doesn't change the ordinance,
Right.
it's just going there
And stay there.
Right. Okay.
to set.
So are we all clear on what is happening now? So you go ahead and do your city hall, the police / city fleets, the library, and the housing, the 2 fences. The residents have been waiting for that. We promised them that we were going to get it done, and the sidewalks,
Still
including the
think that we
Bayshore
should.
Park. And Bayshore Park was one of the best parks we had in the city of North Miami.
It is the best park.
You know,
It's the only waterfront park we have.
let's restore it again to its beauty. Okay. Citizen forum. Okay.
I
Hearing
took care of my
none.
citizens, so.
Just briefly on council council reports. Just wanna again. Tomorrow we have the groundbreaking ceremony at 109 Street and Northeast 10th Avenue. This is sponsored by Public Works along, I believe Biscayne Park is going to be part of this groundbreaking ceremony, and that is tomorrow afternoon at 3 p.m. I think Ms. Solomon already talked about that. Saturday, again, this free foreclosure prevention workshop that is scheduled at 1525 Northwest 135th Street in North Miami. I think the organization already identified there's about 22,000 people that they are either 90 days late in their mortgage payment or in foreclosure, and the 22,000 people gonna need some serious help. And although a lot of them are within the city of North Miami, some of them are not in the city of North Miami, so hopefully we could get a lot of them to come out and get some help. The banks are going to be on hand, and they will be there to modify those loans, and this is Saturday from 10:30 to 3 p.m. Again, want to say thank you to the city attorney to going out there, getting the folks to come to the city to modify those loans. On Wednesday, January 30th, again, the 2 great principals, Sally and Michael Lewis from North Miami Senior High School, they will be receiving the key to the city, and we having a celebration here to honor them at 11:30 a.m. and that is next Wednesday, January 30th, here in the city of North Miami. And of course, those of you who have never participated on the College Brides Walk, I think we've been doing this for the last maybe, I know I walked 3 times and this is my 4th, so I'm not sure how long we've been doing it. But this is in conjunction with Barry University. And basically, it's stories about, college kids that were about to get married, and some of them got, murdered by their future husband, and it's stories after stories. And the young lady that put this together, she works downtown, and she think that it's important to bring to bring attention to what's happening here in South Florida. Just want to say happy birthday to Councilman Marcellus. You know, he just turned 53 years old.
53.
53 years old. He made a comment to me. He said, you know, you're 10 years younger than me and you'll never catch up to me. So, happy birthday again, sir. Just want to mention something quickly. Where's my book? Oh, I don't have it here. Maybe it's back in the office, but just want to mention that my niece, which is the third lawyer in the family, she just graduated from Hofstra University, magna cum laude. She's law review material. I was not. She basically got a great job. She passed the New York bar. She got a great job over at a law firm in downtown New York. Just want to say again, congratulations to my niece, Michelle Marcellus, for graduating number 3 in her class, you know, from Hofstra University. So just wanted to participate, just wanted to mention that to the people that are here.
My sister went
And
there.
oh, your sister went to Hofstra.
Hofstra, yeah.
Okay. And secondly, you know, my mom just turned 75 years old. She's, you know,
Condolences.
she's a little ill. She asked for you guys to pray for her. You know, she's getting of age, and just asked, you know, the resident of this great city to pray for my mom so she could get better soon. We also have the death of Eddie Delmont, which is a community activist and a great friend of this community, which is also the ex-husband of Miss Lucy Tondreau. His funeral is scheduled for this Saturday. Funeral is scheduled this Saturday, January 26th at noon at Notre Dame Church, which is on 110 Northeast 62nd Street. Father Reginald will be conducting the service for this young man. He is survived by 5 children and 3 grandchildren. And also the viewing is scheduled on Friday, January 25th at 6 to 9 p.m. He went into exile from Haiti to New York in 1965. He attended Hunter College, studied philosophy, and moved to Miami in 1983. He was a member of the U.S. Air Force. He served in the Vietnam War. He was the manager for U.S. Postal Service for over 30 years, and basically a great community, you know, leader to lose in this community. And his funeral is scheduled this Saturday, so I invite the community to be part of that funeral. Just want to say again, we had a very successful bike ride, which was a combination for Combit for Haiti, Color of Hope. I think we have about, 35, 40 riders. Basically, we went through the east side. Thank you to Jama Juice for sponsoring a stop, the PAL, Parks and Recreation, Mayor Roxana Ross from Biscayne Park, State Representative Mark Bernard, Dr. J.P. Austin, and so many of you that participated in this 3rd annual Tri-County Bike Ride. And this is in remembrance of the earthquake that happened in Haiti on January 12, 2010. So again, thank you so much, and our next bike ride is scheduled in February. So Councilman Bland?
Oh, you can have citizens forum, because I've been waiting here all evening for that. And you said one citizens forum, and then you went into another speech. I think you might have said citizens forum's closed. So I really respectfully, I have something important to speak about when you in a minute.
No, I did open it and heard from the manager. Then we opened it again. I didn't see you. Go ahead, Ms.
Thank you,
Keys.
thank you. I appreciate that. I am speaking on the water bill because I could not stay for Councilman Galvin's discussion at the last meeting, and the council really didn't pay much attention to Councilman Galvin, but you've got 494, you said 150, but you gave me information. It appears we have 494 sprinkler systems in districts 1 and 2. You have 14 in the center of the city, and you have 0 in District 4. The reason you have none in District 4 is because anybody who wants a sprinkler system, make their lawns look nice and not have their lawns killed, water their vegetables, is because they can use well water. The homes on the east side of Biscayne Boulevard, as I've been explained by Mr. Ghani, cannot use well water because the water is too salty. So there is a hardship, and that they do have to use city water. What the people, now that the bills have just come out in the last couple weeks, people's water bills have tripled for sprinklers. I understand, number one, they're being charged a base price for water meters, sprinklers, second sprinklers. They don't have to water at all, and they're still going to be charged about $68 a quarter just for the privilege of having a sprinkler, whether they use it or not. Secondly, the sprinkler water is $3.18 per 1,000 gallons, whereas where homes are in a tiered rate, and it's $1. They start at about $1.17, and for 0 to 5,000, and it goes on up. So what's happening is people with sprinklers are paying 3 times as much for their water as the homes, and they're also paying for a second meter. They are not. This is not a guest home. This is not a duplex. And I really feel that I would, I'm speaking for a lot of citizens. I've been given a lot of bills, haven't had time to finalize the analysis, but I really think the staff should look at this, readdress it, and not penalize homeowners for trying to make their homes and their property values maintain. I would recommend that, one, you do not give a base rate for water. If it's a second meter, simply for sprinkling, there should not be a base charge, or it should be greatly reduced. And secondly, I would say that the water should be actually tiered, and that way people will conserve their water. People should have an incentive for using a second meter because we're not putting any kind of strain on the sewage system. So it takes almost, the way I calculated, it takes almost 10,000 gallons of water before they even break even. So I really think that there's a big disparity. Someone showed me a bill of $700 for the quarter to water their lawns. And, I address the council, please address your staff. I know that it doesn't apply to a lot of your districts, but the people are being treated unfairly. They're paying an enormous amount just to sprinkle water. It's crazy. The minimum bills I'm seeing is $300 a quarter just to water lawns, and I think that's high. And please address, Mr. Johnson, please go over it, see if there's something you can do, not put the burden on people just sprinkling their lawns. Thank you.
Excellent job.
Esther Blinn, 1990 Northeast 118th Road. Additionally, it's not 60. I believe our water bill for the sprinkler and pool was $90 is our base rate. So in point of fact, we used, because the recycling or recirculating of the pool, it's not just sprinkler, we used a grand total of like 6.75 gallons for the, or whatever it was, 6.75, and the bill was like $110, of which 90 was for the second meter. So people our water bill, in fact, total water bill, our housing, and it goes by the width of the pipe, which it shouldn't. We're trying to conserve. That was the whole point of having the second meter. And it was expensive to purchase. We have to have a backflow, and then we had to pay for the second meter installation as well. So it is totally inequitable, and something needs to be done to adjust it. I understand from Mr. Johnson and Mr. Ghani, you can't change the water is a regulatory thing, but the base rate is something that should be flexible. That's number one. Number two, I urge you all, now that you've passed this sort of global distribution, to include, especially someone like Councilwoman Sterrell's pilot project, grant writers in each of your situations, a grant writer for all the areas, all the things that were mentioned that can produce money. So you can make money on the grant money even though you expended a lot more than the 2.5 million you didn't include, which was a priority for the Sans Souci homeowners, grant writers for all of these things. So I think that should be budgeted in when the city manager comes back, please. Maybe you can include, show how that can help to get more money and show how the money's being spent. Also, there wasn't clarity that I could see, and maybe I was wrong, in whether you had differentiated, Mr. Johnson, between the police cars that are an essential item and the city staff cars that may not be. So I appreciate, as a citizen, the breakdown of that allocation of the 1 million that Councilman Marcellus mentioned. I don't think it was all for the police cars, because I gathered the police cars were $600,000 or $700,000.
No, they were $1.5 million.
We'll see.
Thank
Anyway, I congratulate you for concluding the matter tentatively, and as Councilman Galvin pointed out, we'd like a more specificity on the budgeting.
Staver.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and everyone here, all the folks from the city and whatnot. So we went from like 2.5 to 5.6 to 9.1. I'm just wondering, you think we can get another $17.5 million from Swerdlow, and then we could really balance things out nicely and just, fix a lot more? But on a more serious note, I don't understand if this money includes Councilman Galvin's projects or just Councilwoman Sterrell's projects. Does it include Councilman Blynn's suggestions of things that he wanted to do in his district? And I don't remember hearing the mayor say that he had a list of things that he wanted to get done. So is this?
He didn't have a list.
You did have, okay, you don't have to answer me, but, I wasn't sure about that. So I guess, does this include everybody's laundry list, or is this just those top level projects? And, just a little clarification on that, and hopefully we will get a much better detailed script of how this money is going to be spent in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening one more time, Mr. Mayor and council members. Kevin Burns, 2065 Alameda Drive. Earlier in the discussion about the Biscayne Landing project, there was reference to the $2 million that Michael Swerdlow or Alita Group had promised to give to toward the Oaks. I remember sitting in the audience when different groups were making their presentation, and when Mr. Swerdlow and his group, LaFrac, was making a presentation about making a commitment to spend or give the Oaks $2 million toward the amenities, the guard gate, the pool, and so forth. And the same thing came up during the discussion when we gave them the 4 acres so that they could finally become whole. Mr. Mayor, I don't know if you were saying it in jest, plus I've heard it from people in the community and the city, and I believe from people out at Biscayne at the Oaks, that that $2 million is not coming to them. So that it's very clear and on the record, and again, Mr. Mayor, you said it wasn't in writing. I don't know if that was in jest, or if something that was promised and talked about, that it was part of the package, the enticement to go with that particular group, and then somehow or another it got negotiated out it never made it into a legal document, or what exactly happened to it, or was it never there to begin with, and it's just a fallacy of our imagination. So if Mr. Mayor, your staff, the city manager or the city attorney can say, you know what, joint negotiation, it was taken out, and so there was no $2 million commitment, or that it was there, it slipped by. I don't have the answers, but it's a pretty serious amount of money that if it just disappeared one way or another, at least get it on the record, clarified tonight of where it's at or not at. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Councilman Marcellus.
No reports.
Okay, Councilman. I thought I started with you. No?
What?
Councilman Bland?
I didn't start yet.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Let me bring to your attention this petition for Rockland Ranch needs repair and sand for turning around the riding arena. This arena has been here for 40-plus years. It's the only...
Can we clarify, that was part of what I asked for funding for, and that was agreed to?
Yeah, we want funding for that. I demand funding for that. It's the only time anyone in the inner city sometimes ever sees a horse in their childhood. So, and I have a petition, so I'll go along with that, Scott, 100%. Plus something called the QEAB. All right, this is North Miami Quality Education Advisory Board. They want money for 12 schools, the kids who can help their reading, display book statements, test, monitor statements. It's basically a reading acceleration program allowing schools to formatively assess the students' progress and help them read up to grade. Because you've heard half the students in this city do not read up to that grade.
Are you aware that they made a presentation earlier in the evening?
Yes, and I'd like to have somehow the city support this.
Well, I think...
Especially in the 3 schools, including Morning High, North Miami Middle School, and the North Miami Senior High School, where they'll have wireless mobile technology carts available to help them accelerate their reading. The actual quote for that is $58,000.
I believe, if we're not mistaken, in the motion to set aside $1 million...
I hope to God that's the right, but it wasn't mentioned. All right.
No, well, money for nonprofits or social services was mentioned.
Yeah, but I'm being specific. Now, those are important programs. All right. I was honored by Congressman Wilson as 5,000 role models. And I got to speak on radio, which is very really for me. And I made the following suggestions on this program, that something should be done about the high school dropout rate in North Miami. Ladies and gentlemen, between the 7th grade and actually graduating from the 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th, all the way up to graduation to the 12th grade, there's over a 50% dropout rate. This is a tragedy, the worst tragedy, worse than a cracked sidewalk or a tree on Northwest 7th Avenue.
You just found out, Mr. Mayor?
I'm telling the public about it. I've known about it for a long time. All right, what I decided to do about this, and I didn't know what to do about it for a long time until May and Pierre, when I went to a conference where most people only spoke Creole, and I didn't understand them, and they were complaining about something, so I asked the minister about it. He said they're complaining they can't help their children in the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade to do the homework. I said, why? They only speak Creole. Where can they go? They can go to a church. Let us help 10, 12 churches in North Dade, city of North Miami specifically. Get them computers, get them people who can help them do their homeworks in the 7th grade. Because once they fall behind in the 7th or 8th grade, they never catch up. How much would a program like this cost? Well, how about each church getting 10 computers and 10 people to help out the students do their homework? It can't be that expensive. I'm proposing that such a program be instituted by the city, and I propose it on radio. And I tell you, frankly, this also the library can participate. It is an important that the city help the dropout rate to go down to less than what it should be. I mean, one high school in North Miami has a 90% graduation rate.
Yeah, but
by
how
the
much
way.
money you propose
Morning
for that
High.
project?
And meanwhile, North Miami High School practically has less than 50%.
How much money are you proposing for that project?
Well, how about 10 churches, 10 computers with 10 people?
How much money is that? 10 people?
Well, a computer is, what, $1,000 for a really full, good computer?
Each computer?
Yeah, that's 100 computers.
So we
that
talking
let the
about
church supply the people.
$1,000
Probably won't
per
cost
computer,
anything.
$10,000.
Maybe $100,000 could probably start a program
What
like
about
that.
the staff? How are you going to pay them?
The church will have volunteers. Whoever gets to be on a staff, pay the minimum wage, and their
Minimum
students at
wage?
Florida International. No, they'll be happy to accept it if
But
you're in
if you know
school.
how to read, you cannot be paying minimum wage. People, if you know computer, you no longer.
We can get people who are students for minimum wage, $7, $8 an hour, even $10 an
How
hour.
about we ask that you sit with staff and come up with a proposal
Right,
to bring
but I'm
back?
proposing this. This will stop the dropout rate at 50%. If we can even change it by 5 or 10%, we've done a great favor for the citizens. These kids don't get jobs when they drop out, they fall into crime, and the city has no future for them, and they have no future for the city. This is the most important thing as far as I'm concerned. Not a tree, not a cracked sidewalk, not a fixing of a park.
So I
It is to
move-
help the
I move we
students in our
reallocate-
city to stay in school.
I'll move we reallocate the North Bay Shore Park wall money toward this program.
I second it.
How about $1 million for 7th Avenue?
I'm being a little bit facetious.
You're being facetious, I know.
But come on, Mr. Blinn.
All right.
We all know education is a true issue in this community. It's going to take more than an 11th hour.
Let me tell you what I said at the 5,000 role models. This is what I said. I reflect on Martin Luther King's teaching. I
Are
think
you
no
gonna
more
vote on the
appropriate
motion?
quote for the occasion of
Where's-
this 5,000 role
where's the
models
chair?
is a comment by Martin Luther King. The function of education is to teach one to think intensely and to think critically. Intelligence plus character. And when you drop out of school, you lose your intelligence and your character, is the goal of true education. Martin Luther King's goal was to apply to our education to services for all people throughout, not just the United States, but the world. Education, he stated, does not require a noun and a verb to agree, but to use your education to serve others with a full heart of grace. Let us all go forward to fulfill the dream of Martin Luther King, to apply our education as he defined it, to come together united, we're strong, the knowledge, we're strong, a common human heart. All people can have a common good human heart when they are educated, knowledgeable, and have character. God bless America.
Thank you.
God bless North Miami.
All right, thank you. Councilman Galvin?
No report tonight, thank you.
Vice Mayor? No report, okay. Again, 2012, from the North Miami Police Department was a very successful year. Part 1 crime were reduced, an additional 2.6% from 2011. And of course, that's the lowest numbers reported since 1979. The department answered almost 50,000 calls for services, an increase of 7% from 2011. And number of arrests was increased by almost 30%. Again, Mr. Manager, along with the police chief, thank you so much for all the work that you guys do on that police department and the city of North Miami. Okay. Ms. City Attorney, no report from you. Mr. City Manager, no report from you.
Yes, Mayor and Council. I want to commend you on your effort tonight. I don't know if you took notice, but out of $17.5 million, slightly under half has been reserved. I think the other amounts are going toward good places. My staff and I will make every concerted effort to stretch those funds as widely as possible. We want to say in terms of grants, I've attended several conferences and have been reaching out. Our federal lobbyists will be here on Friday. It seems like that the grants coming down, the only grants on a federal level is police and water and infrastructure. And of course, that is pending Congress. On a state level, the only grants, again, is water and infrastructure. And on the local level, it's through the Children's Trust, which is opportunities for parks and our POW. There's a misconception regarding grants. Those are the only grants that are out there. Those grants, most of them require public-private partnerships. And we are approached weekly about a public-private partnership with social services. We don't bombard you with that. We feel that our police athletic league and our parks recreation is the perfect duo for grants to seek through the Children's Trust for both playground opportunities and helping our kids through social services. Other than that, there are no grants. They don't exist, other than on a federal and a state level, local, which I just mentioned. On both water and infrastructure is both on the state and federal. But as you know, through the Guns Control Act, it seems to be a hot item. Seems like there's going to be a lot of police personnel opportunities. So we will make every effort to keep you updated on those opportunities once we meet with our federal lobbyists. We do have a meeting with Ron Book during the legislative session to lobby for us as well for some grants that we have out there, and we will continue those efforts. Other than that,
question for you.
Mhm.
Although that we appeared that we were having fun with Mr. Glenn, but I took a lot of the things that he said into consideration, which I think it's very nice of him to think about the entire city, but not just a part of the city. And I understand that Mrs. Glenn and Mr. Glenn has been pushing the grant issue, and I think that I'm trying to understand where they're coming from. But it's weird to hear from you that there's specific grant out there pertaining to the to cities. My question to you: when those grants are coming in, for example, for the water or state, federal, or local, do we have someone on staff that actually? Because I know we have been grants coming to us, and we voted on it to make sure that it's coming. Do we have someone on staff that actually write those grants, or is it an application, or if we have a private partnership, the private sector or the non-for-profit, the one that's responsible for it?
Yes, to the Mayor, Vice Mayor. The police department has their own grants writer.
Okay.
Through our governmental affairs office, that position has been filled, and one of their roles would be also to conduct grants. And we also are seeking applicants for Parks and Recreation, and specifically someone that can target grants for parks. So that would be also an in-house person. So we feel that all three of those bases will be fulfilled. The water department, we have Mr. Ghani has been very successful in partnering with the different vendors to get those grants. So we feel that we will be covered in all those bases.
So, Mrs. Bland, so we are it's apparently that they are working on it, and they take your recommendation into consideration.
Yeah, the
So
city
I'm
manager
happy to
already
hear
told me
that.
this.
But why you didn't tell your wife?
He told me what was going on at grant department.
Ah, Mr. Bland.
Okay, Mr.
Go ahead. Sorry.
That's it, Mayor.
Mr. City Clerk, any report from you?
No report, Mayor.
Move
Okay.
to adjourn.
Before we move to adjourn,
sorry.
I just want to say I keep receiving a lot of
Accolades.
congratulatory letters. But Governor Rick Scott just sent me a letter congratulating me on being honored as the 2012 Person of the Year in the Haitian community. So
No.
I got so many
no
other
videos.
letters that I received, but I just want to say thank you to him
You're welcome.
for recognizing that I have been recognized in the community as the Person of the
By
Year.
the way, good job, Mr. Yeah, we just recognize you here. That you have been doing.
Thank you.
a good job.
Okay, thank
All
you so
right.
much. Thank you. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Miami Herald Star.
All right. Thank you.